revival was inspired by Climate Fairhead in Northern Ireland, which is probably the best crag in Britain. And what happened there is the locals were cleaning routes, just abseiling down out of their own goodness of their hearts and cleaning routes that had already been climbed. I went over there, I was really inspired by that. I thought we need to do that in North Wales. And Tremadog is the obvious place. This crag here, Buchamoch, is owned by the BMC, so it seemed like a good place to start. And although if we can't look after our own crag, then it's a bit difficult going to other landowners and talking about their crags for them, isn't it? So last winter we had 3 big gardening days, serious heavy gardening days in the winter. And then we thought it'd be really nice to round that up with a bit of a party. So we threw the Tremadog Festival for the first time last year, where the idea is people come along with some tools, clean off the spring growth on the roots, nothing too major, just trim off the brambles and the dandelions, that sort of thing. We've obviously checked all that out with the National Park and CCW, it's all okayed. And people turn up, just tell us what route they're going to do, we give them a raffle ticket. At the end of the day we have a raffle, prizes are donated by lots of local businesses. What else? Oh, we get some free beer, which the BMC and the Climbers Club pay for, and then we just have a big bonfire and a big chinwag. Oh, we got a slideshow as well.
Today is really a chance for climbers, not just from Wales but from all around the country, to get involved with the maintenance of a very popular crag, or a crag that certainly has been popular over the last 15, 20, 30 years. And in recent years it's become more overgrown, more vegetated, roots have been lost to ivy and brambles and grass and all sorts of other hideous muddy stuff, and people locally have decided that it's time to just get a handle on that and remove it.
It's not as acidic as other rock types in North Wales. It's a more basic rock type. It's at sea level and it's on the western margin. So because of the climate here and the geology, vegetation is profuse. So left unchecked, the whole crag will be covered in vegetation, principally brambles to be honest, within a pretty short space of time. So it's really important that people climb the routes and keep them clear. But the other thing that happened is the last guidebook didn't have stars to the routes, so some routes that weren't as well known got overgrown quite quickly, and all the traffic here was concentrated on maybe about 10 routes, and they're overused. Routes like Christmas Curry and Vector, they're quite spoilt now. So what we want to do is to open up some of the other routes that haven't been climbed on, which are equally as good, and the rock's unpolished and they're fantastic. So routes like Borneo and Rio and Mr. Ranger can be enjoyed to the full now on pristine dolerite rock. It's really good.
So it's not up here, it's just the line of least resistance, isn't it? Yeah.
So that's our plan anyway, is to lay waste to an entire slab of vegetation, and frankly I'm quite looking forward to it.
I bashed my toenail in Portugal yesterday, you know, just whack, and the toenail came off. And I kind of gaffer taped it back on. I don't know if I'm going to save it or not, but I can't get a rock boot on, can't get any sort of footwear on at all. It's just so painful.
This is the life of the international crag cleaning superstar, you see. Yeah. If it's Friday, it must be Portugal. Saturday, Tremadog.
This is Borneo. We were asked to, or invited to, have a go at clearing this route when the first of the Tremadog revival festivals was on a couple of years back, and my partner and climbing partner and I, Tim, managed to clear the lower sections of the slabs on the first visit. We weren't able to come back last year, but came back for this weekend and have managed to clear the rest of the route. The worst bit was around about 2/3 height. There was a lot of very dense bramble and tree growth coming out of the edge wall, and that took a lot of clearing. It was very tangled, so even once it was cut, it wouldn't naturally fall away. So there was a bit of gymnastics to roll the cut undergrowth off to one side.
I think crag maintenance from a BMC point of view is important simply because it's what the evidence says that climbers want. That it is, as I said earlier, it's very easy to sit around complaining about the state of the crag, but the BMC can provide the organisation, it can provide the backup and the support, and so it is important because it gives members what they're asking for. It allows them to actually achieve something and make progress. And really these days, if you're a membership organisation, that's what you've got to offer. You can't just offer platitudes or booklets. You've got to offer action, you've got to offer progress. I think there's still an idea, or still the impression amongst a lot of climbers, that you're not allowed to touch a grass sod on a route, or if there's a little sapling you're not allowed to touch it, or any sort of vegetation you can't touch it because it's illegal. And that's not always the case. Sometimes it is, but you can actually take grass out of a crag because grass isn't a protected species, and you can actually do something. And here we're showing that what's possible. We're giving people, we're educating in some ways. I mean, not to sound arrogant or supercilious in any way, but we are showing that yes, you can do it. You are allowed to go and improve things.
I first climbed here when I was about 18. I came down on as part of a Plessy Brennan course, and I had a tremendous day here. And I remembered it as a very open crag at that time, and beautiful rock to climb on. And then several years later, or many years later, when I came back, found it very, very overgrown. And my climbing partner and I on that day took several hours to actually find the routes we wanted to do. And then there was a lot of undergrowth to plough through. So that in itself provided part of the incentive when the first weekend was advertised to come over and say, hey, have a go at trying to clear it a bit. That's a good route. That's a good route.
Safe spot.
I've been really pleased. Last year, which was the first time we ran this, we had 65 climbers, and it was a really, really good weekend. Blue skies, sunshine, fabulous. And this time, weather's not so great. A lot of people have cried off because of dodgy forecasts from the internet. We've got 63 climbers, so this is great success, absolutely. And people who didn't necessarily know anything about this and were coming to Tremadog anyway have seen what's been going on and have decided they want to get involved. So we're pulling people in who didn't know what was happening, but then saw it and thought, yeah, that's pretty cool, let's get involved. So it's wholly inclusive. Isn't that a dreadful phrase? But it is. It includes everybody. You know, strange people, ugly people, attractive people. Who cares? As long as you come along and get involved. Everybody loves a clean up.